guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I hope you hit the subscribe button and turn on the little bell so that you get notified whenever I post new videos. Today's video is going to be just a little Bible study slash recap of what I've been reading lately and just kind of sharing what God has taught me through reading in the past few weeks and past few days, and hopefully you find something valuable from this or it's encouraging to you. But yeah, let's get into it. I feel like a lot of people are doing this right now. I found out about it through social media, but I am currently reading through the book of Luke with my husband. We read one chapter every night, and it works out to where if you read one chapter every night before every night in December, it leads up to Christmas Day, and you finish the book of Luke on Christmas Day. It's either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and you'll have read like a recount of Jesus's life from birth and from birth on, and it has been so good so far. When I'm filming this, we are on day 7, so we'll be reading chapter 7 tonight, and Austin reads it out loud for us every night, and baby B just goes crazy when he hears him read, and it's so nice to be able to read scripture to him as well. So I wanted to go over some of the things that I've really loved about it so far, and unfortunately, like, this video would be so long if I went over every chapter, but I want to encourage you guys, even if you are behind and you started in the middle of December, to try to read the book of Luke this month to get you really into the Christmas spirit and focus on what it's all about, and also just reflect on what a great gift it is that Jesus came and died for us. And I hope that you will join and do that. But this video would be really long if I went chapter by chapter, so I'm just gonna jump around and do like highlights and stuff. But you could totally pause the video and read up to chapter 6 if you want to be completely caught up. This is the Bible that is always linked in my description box, and it's still available. It's my journal Bible. The Bible that you see me use in other videos is my study Bible, and I've had it for almost 10 years, so it's no longer available. That's why I don't have a link, but it's just the Life Application Study Bible. So Luke chapter 1 is introducing Mary and Elizabeth. Mary is Jesus's mom, and Elizabeth is her relative, I believe, and Elizabeth is the mom of John the Baptist. And so it kind of just talks about that whole situation, how they came to be pregnant, and like the Spirit speaking to them and letting them know, hey, you're going to give birth to a son and he's going to be amazing and do all these things for the kingdom and all that. And it's really, really cool whenever I read over that, especially reading over it while pregnant was like a totally different experience. But I wanted to go back to chapter 1, verse 12. This really spoke to me, and I thought it was really interesting. So Zechariah is Elizabeth's husband, I believe. And it says in verse 12 that when he saw the angel, he was startled and gripped with fear. The angel said to him, "Do not be afraid. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife will bear you a son, and you will call him John." It's just like talking about John's life and his calling and what John will do for the kingdom and all of that. Well, then Zechariah says, "How can I be sure of this? I'm an old man and my wife is well along in years." The angel said to him, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to tell you this. Now you will be silent and not be able to speak until the day that this happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true at their appointed time." So literally, I think I've just read over that so many times and been like, okay. But Austin and I both stopped and looked at each other and was just like, how crazy is that? That because he doubted and like just for a second was like, but how? I want to know how, or the why. His lips were completely sealed. Like he could not speak one word until John the Baptist was born. Like I just thought that was really, I don't know, convicting and humbling to me, because it's almost better that you are silent than to vocally doubt God and his power and what he has put into place. I have notes written in like the side of my Bible, and I wrote, because of Zechariah and his doubting heart and little faith, God silenced him. It is often better to be silent than loud if your faith in God is so little. And that's really relevant to right now. I feel with all that's going on in the world, there's a lot of fear and a lot of doubt and questioning happening. And I feel like us Christians are so weak and feeble when we're supposed to be the ones who are unshakable during this time. Like, our foundation is supposed to be on Jesus, and we shouldn't be able to be moved when the world gives us so many reasons to be afraid. It kind of just convicted me to make my faith in God bigger and remember really who he is and how mighty he is, and that he is still the exact same God that is in the Bible today, and how my faith in him needs to be bigger, because it's better to be silenced than it is to have little faith and be vocal about that. The little thing that I thought was really sweet, especially being pregnant, verses 39 through 45 is talking about how Mary is going to see Elizabeth, and when Elizabeth first saw Mary and Mary said like, "Hi, how are you?" that John the Baptist inside of her womb literally like leapt and kicked. And I just thought that was so cool. And she said, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the child you will bear. Why am I so favored that the mother of my Lord should come to me? As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her." And it's just so cool that even the little baby inside of her was joyful to hear the sound of Mary's voice, because he knew that Mary was the one who would be carrying Jesus. I thought that was really awesome. So that's chapter 1. There's a lot more to be said about that. I just really liked and got a lot from just the story of Zechariah being silenced. So the next point that I want to bring up, again, I would literally touch on every chapter in here if I could and I had the time. Chapter 4, this is kind of fast forwarding a little bit. Jesus is a lot older. He's obviously born, and he's being tested in the wilderness, and says that he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, and when he got there, he was tempted for 40 days by the devil. And when I read that, it was just really settled in for me. The fact, I feel like sometimes I forget the fact that Jesus was both fully God and fully man, and that he really was still man in the sense that he could be tempted. And I think that that's really important for us to grasp as Christians, because he is a perfect example of facing the opportunity for sin and choosing not to. But the fact that he was tempted for 40 days by the devil, he ate nothing during those days, and at the end of them was hungry. Imagining that happening, like the faith that it would take to endure 40 full days of being tempted by the devil himself and just being isolated in that way, was really inspiring to me and made me want to, again, grow my faith and call myself to a deeper level of faith in him, because I know that I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't even be able to last 24 hours if that were my situation. So verse 9, it says, "The devil led him to Jerusalem and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. 'If you are the Son of God,' he said, 'throw yourself down from here, for it is written, He will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Like, the devil literally is tempting him and quoting scripture. And Jesus responds, "It is said, do not put the Lord your God to the test." When the devil had finished all this tempting, he left him until an opportune time. A lot to be said about that. It's really complex to me, but it was really cool to me that Jesus being tempted, he totally could have done those things. He totally could have listened to Satan, and, you know, Satan's like, "Jump off this ledge. God will save you. If God is who you say he is, he'll save you." And Jesus totally could have jumped off, and God would have saved him. But just the simple fact that the devil was trying to get Jesus to test God, or trying to display a lack of faith or any of that, is really cool. And I love how Jesus responds to him in those times. I think it's a testament to how we should respond to temptation. But that was just really, really cool to me. I love reading about times like that where it shows Jesus's like humanness and him being tempted, and how he reacts in situations like those, because it would be the perfect and ideal way for us to react because he's the perfect human. I am gonna read next in chapter 6. So chapter 6 gives like, well, I guess chapter 5 and 6 gives several different stories of Jesus displaying his power and healing people and witnessing to people, and you should definitely read through those. Those are really, really good. And then chapter 6 has a section that I think gets quoted really often, but I really liked rereading it, and I'm hoping to like print it out or hang it somewhere in our house where I can see it daily, because it was just such a really well needed reminder for us. 27 through honestly 49 are really, really great verses to focus on. And it breaks it down into sections: loving your enemies, judging others, a tree and its fruit, and the wise and foolish builders. But 27 through 36 talks about loving your enemies and what it looks like to show love as a Christ follower. And it was so cool the way that he speaks about it. Like for example, verse 32, he says, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. But love your enemies, do good to them, lend to them without expecting anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because he is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. And I love that he would say, if you do this, what credit is that to you? Because even sinners do that. Like, even those who live solely for the world do that. It's the bare minimum. And we're called to another level of love, like one that doesn't even make sense. We're called to give without expecting anything in return. We're called to give the shirt off of our back, and when people take from us, to give more. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt. Give to everyone who asks, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. It's just a deep level of love that the world doesn't know, and it's not conventional, and it doesn't make sense, and that's what we're called to as Christians, is to love the way that Jesus would, to where it looks otherworldly, because it's love of Christ, and that's what we're called to. And I really, really love that piece of scripture, and I want to make sure to remind myself of it, because it gets harder and harder the more you live on this earth. You guys know it gets harder and harder to show love the way that we are biblically called to and spiritually called to, because it's just not always the easy choice. Down on verse 43 or 43, it says, no good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit. People do not pick figs from thorn bushes or grapes from briars. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. And I love that scripture, because it just encourages me to really look at the condition of my heart and to constantly be praying that God would soften it and make it pliable to where it's more full of his goodness than it is my wickedness, because what comes out of you is coming from your heart. And it says that no good tree can bear, or no bad tree can bear good fruit. So I can't bear good fruit if the condition of my heart is in poor condition, and if it's not in step with God. And I want to keep myself close to him so that he can continue to shape my heart, so that the fruit I produce is good and good for the kingdom and glorifying to him. Lastly, it's the section talking about the wise and foolish builders, which if you are a church kid, you probably know the little like nursery rhyme about the wise man building his house upon the rock. Basically, he's talking about how words, unless put into practice, are useless. Actions are always better than words. and more powerful than words and greater than words. And the Christian faith is called to so much more than words. And it's the same thing. Like, you can know the whole Bible, but if you don't apply it and live it out, it's worthless to you. It's a lot easier said than done to know scripture but not apply it. And I've been reading a book called Knowing God by J.I. Packer, and he talks a lot about this, how someone can know a lot about God but know nothing of him, and to not really know him deeply. And I so want to work on this next year knowing God closely, instead of just knowing about him and knowing what the word says, but to actually put it into practice and have a deeper relationship with him. I want that to be my 2021 resolution, I guess. That is my little summary of what God has been teaching me through the book of Luke the last 6 days. I cannot wait to finish it and read more about it because it's just been so good. Again, I would have made this video so much longer if I talked about each chapter, because there's so much to unpack in each chapter. But I hope that it was encouraging to you and that you got something out of it and that God spoke to you, or it encouraged you to also read the book of Luke yourself. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on future videos like this one. And make sure you go out of your way today to love on someone, make them feel extra special just because they are, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.